Hello, I'm Dr. Vanita Rattan, and this channel is dedicated to skincare for skin of colour. As you know, I'm a doctor, but I'm also a cosmetic formulator specifically for skin of colour. So today's video is a little bit of a different one. I want to address some online rumours about me. I've been in two minds as to whether or not I want to make this video. On one hand, it could look that I'm being really defensive and, just go with the punches and it is what it is. And on the other side, I think if I don't address rumors, then what happens is I'm telling other people it's okay for them not to stand up for themselves, to not address things, incorrect information that's being spread about them. A lot of people tend to believe things that they read online, and I want to correct it. And also, if I'm not able to speak up on my own behalf, then I'm teaching other people to also be in fear, especially if they're influencers or they're trying to grow their platform on social media. And I do feel like I have a duty of care to others who, in this day and age, a lot of us do have a footprint online. A lot of us do have public platforms. And when I've spoken about this in the past, the number of professionals who've messaged me to say that the awful messages that they've received about themselves, that makes them take a step back and makes them stop giving good information online and, want to start to protect their privacy. I feel like I have a duty of care to them too. And so even though it's a really nerve-wracking video to make, I feel like I'm not doing this just for myself. I'm doing this for anybody who is trying to grow their presence online, to grow their digital footprint. So I really hope it helps. Rumor number one. Rumor number one is she isn't a proper doctor. She has a PhD or something. I knew there was something fishy about her. The other one that keeps coming up is, I knew she was shady. I don't know how this word just keeps coming up and over. But anyway, I decided to dig into my archive and pull out my degrees. So I have my medical degree. This is Bachelor of Medicine and Science. So that's that one. And then this one is my BSc for Physiology Pharmacology. So these are my two degrees. So no one can ever say again that I'm not a doctor, because being a doctor is binary. It's not, it's not a maybe a doctor. Either you are or you aren't. Either you have the certificate or you don't have the certificate. And I spent half my life trying to get into medical school and then 6 years at medical school. So for somebody online who comes with their anonymous account, I don't know who they are, where they're from, to say anything otherwise is just incorrect. So I'd like to please correct the first rumor. The second thing that comes up over and over is I checked the GMC register. She's not on it. She must be a fraud. You are only on the GMC register if after medical school you go and work in a hospital like all my friends did, and that was supposed to be my career path. I decided that I want to go and work in a laboratory. I want to understand percentage actives that were safe for skin of color that no one else had ever investigated before. And doing that was going against everything that my medical school told me to do. It went against what my friends and family, well-meaning friends and family, said I should be doing. It actually went against what society said I should be doing, because especially in the South Asian community, there are certain expectations of you, and you lose status if you deviate from them, And this is why so many of us go into medicine, because part of it is a status thing, and it's something that a lot of Asian families want for their children. So yes, I deviated from the path, and I decided that actually for me, my calling in life was to improve standards of skincare for skin of color globally. It hadn't been done before. There were little to no papers on skincare for skin of color. There's certainly nothing on percentages. So for example, if you were to make a cream for retinol, a retinol cream for skin of color, where would you even start? Because you wouldn't even know what percentage was suitable for the vast majority of skin of color, unless you'd done trials on it, and no one until this date had done trials on it. So I had to conduct the first trials just to understand percentage actives. Doing this, going down this path, meant that I'm not going to be on the GMC register because I never worked in a hospital. That's not something I want to do. It wasn't my mission in life. And so I just like to correct Rumour number 2. The next rumour is she calls herself the world's first doctor and cosmetic formulator for skin of colour. There are many others. So I have searched and searched for somebody else who has had the same background as me, has had that same education as me, that I can discuss problems with, because honestly, I haven't found anybody. I have not found a doctor who's studied to become a cosmetic formulator and has done trials on skin of color. I just haven't found that person. If you know that person, please do write their name down below, because I would love to talk to them, because there's so much to discuss. There's also a common misconception. There's a difference between being a brand owner and being a cosmetic formulator. These are two completely different jobs. It's a little bit like going into a restaurant and being a customer at the restaurant and ordering whatever food. I want to have a hamburger. So you've made your order. So that's a little bit like the brand owner. And the chef will go and make your order. That's the cosmetic formulator. So they're the cook. They're the ones that are actually doing it with their own hands. So there's a difference between being a brand owner, which there are many brand owners globally in all parts of the world, and very few cosmetic formulators for skin of color. So when I say I'm the world's first doctor and cosmetic formulator for skin of color, I'm not saying I'm the world's first brand owner. I'm saying with my own hands, manufacturing and running clinical trials. Now, when it comes to clinical trials, the other thing that people get hung up on is, well, why are your clinical trials not published in peer review journals? And that's a great question. There's a reason for it. There is no peer-reviewed journal allows for a private product to be put into their journal. So for example, they will talk about percentage actives, they will talk about methodology, they will talk about new technology. But for example, you're not going to see bio oil or any of these other brands in a peer-reviewed journal. It's because that's a private company. So that's also important to be aware of. All my clinical studies have been conducted by a third party, an independent party, and the trials are on our website. So if you go to skincarebydrv.com, you will see the trials for facial pigmentation kit. Soon I'm going to be uploading our trials for the world's first Inzincable. So Inzincable I designed for skin of color. Not only is it invisible in skin of color, but also I've created a technology called MelaShield, which we're putting inside, and the results from the clinical study have been incredible, and I can't really share it too much with you today. I get really carried away when it comes to Inzincable. I think it's literally my number one baby. Okay, yeah. So I'll talk about Inzincable another time, but it's a mineral sunscreen SPF50 for skin of color, which has taken me years to make, literally. So just in case there is another cosmetic formulator who is a doctor, who has done trials on skin of color, that does exist, but isn't online and is maybe working somewhere very quietly and hasn't shared their work with anybody, maybe that person does exist. And so I will stop saying I'm the world's first for, doctor and cosmetic formulator for skin of color, just in case that's the case. I hope it's the case. I hope there are others out there. And I really hope in the future there are more of us. I hope more medics go down this pathway, because we really need more of us, It's great to bounce ideas, and honestly, I don't have many people I get to talk to, and so it's much, much harder for me. So yeah, I really do hope there are others out there, and if there are, please get in contact, because it'll be fun. Addressing the next rumor, which is, isn't she the one who said people of color can't wear glycolic and AHAs? When have I ever said this? When has this ever been said? I love AHAs for skin of color. I myself wear mandelic and lactic acid. That is how I exfoliate my skin. Those are AHAs. I formulate with these ingredients in basically all my products. But this is basically how Chinese whispers happens online on a mass scale with anonymous accounts. One person will say something, 10 people will read it, those 10 people will then say it, 1,000 people will read it, and then it becomes global. I actually did a video with Dr. Shah, Dr. Lee on my channel about glycolic acid and discussing just how far that this rumor had spread. And apparently I'm the one that instigated it. So if you can find one time that I've ever said that, fine, you're completely right, but I have never said that. I've actually made a video called, Is Glycolic Acid the Devil? I would formulate with glycolic acid up to 5% for skin of color. More than that, yes, it can burn the skin. It can lead to more pigmentation. And for skin of color, when we burn, we pigment, and the pigmentation lasts for years. Whereas in Caucasian skin, when they burn, they don't get pigmentation for years. And so guess what? The repercussions for us are very different. And that's why I'm always saying we do need to err on the side of caution. This YouTube channel to date, I think we've had 22 million views, right? Now imagine there's a 3% of you burn with glycolic acid, at 10%, for example. Then that's hundreds of thousands of burns from watching my videos. Now, when my duty of care is to my skin of color family, I can't allow that to happen. And I'm always going to make sure that whatever I'm suggesting to you is the most effective thing for your skin, but without burning and leading to more pigmentation. The other thing to note is, because this channel is not sponsored, because I don't accept any sponsorship from anyone ever, I am able to be a lot more free with what I want to say without offending brands. However, this is a sort of backlash that can happen, and this is also why I want to address it. The next phenomenon that started was somebody screenshotting all negative reviews of my clinic online, and I think there are about 8 or 10. Now imagine we treat thousands of cases of pigmentation every year. We have a 5% failure rate. I have hundreds of failed treatments at my clinic every single year. In theory, there should be far more than 8 negative online reviews. There should be hundreds every year, in theory. Everyone that's had a negative experience or the treatment hasn't worked should be writing a negative review. The fact there are 8 or 10, or even 15, it doesn't surprise me, and it's not a shocking number. It's something that I'm telling you should exist and does exist for every company, I think the mistake that I made was I've never asked for reviews from our clients. And so there's no fair representation of all our past clients. I think I did it for about a year using FIFO, and we had 80, 90 very good reviews, and then we just stopped asking for reviews. So that was my mistake, is that I didn't keep up and constantly ask for reviews. And so now what I do with Skincare by Dr. V is I don't make that same mistake again, and automatically you get an email asking for your review, and you can see there's countless 5-star reviews, 4 and 5-star reviews. And I'm very happy with the feedback. And I encourage you to go and have a look at it too. But this sort of thing where you can create so much scandal and so much emotional hysteria by screenshotting something negative, and it can paint your whole name, your whole brand with this negative color, when actually, statistically speaking, there should be more negative reviews than just 8 or 10. So to me, that's just not a shocking number. I expect it. Stepping back and looking at this through an academic lens is actually fascinating. I love human psychology and trying to untangle what has happened here. The purpose of these forums are for like-minded people to come together to validate each other, to agree with each other's suspicions. And they themselves honestly do not think of themselves as trolls or anything negative. They think of themselves as the goodies who are trying to expose corruption or expose scandals. Now, this sense of collectively trying to fight evil actually prevents open dialogue, especially in a group setting. So I decided to try the divide and conquer method. And I spoke to each person individually in private. And actually, on a one-to-one basis, it's very reasonable, and they will understand where the misconceptions were, where they were wrong in their assumptions, and we usually come to an understanding. Then when you take that same person, just as an experiment, and you put them back into the group, they go back to the party line. It's actually phenomenal to watch. It's so interesting from a human psychology perspective and human behavior group dynamic perspective, because they go back to the party line. So they've understood everything you said. They've actually agreed with you, but then they'll go back in front of all their friends online and they'll start regurgitating the same thing again. I think it's the pull of being in a group is more attractive than being on your own. And that is the exact same thing that happens in politics. So for example, you could talk to different Republicans and they will have different views, but they all fall back into the party line, because that sense of being collectively together is more important than their slight differences in their beliefs. And this is global. This is not just America. I'm talking about, Conservative Party here, or, any part of the world. This is how groups think. One of them actually said to me something very interesting. She said, "Why would a whole forum try and attack you? It makes no sense." And I stepped back and I thought about this. Why would this happen from a psychology perspective? And there are three main reasons for this. Number one, the euphoria that takes place from mass hysteria cannot be underestimated. The thought of being the savior or exposing corruption, that high that you get in a group is incredibly attractive. And this is what starts mob behavior. Number two, from studying what's been said online, I've realized it's actually the same people who are doing this to lots of influencers. They know each other online. They're referring to each other. They save threads. They are able to incite anger through language. It's actually a type of person who's versed at inciting anger online. So it's not everybody. It's a few people who are doing it to multiple people. And in fact, a very interesting thing I've seen is when I follow those people who do it to me, I notice every other week they are doing the exact same tactics to other people. But the problem is that all these influencers aren't talking to each other in order to prevent this from happening. And so they're essentially dividing and conquering us. Just from a psychology perspective, I think it's actually really, for what they're trying to achieve, they're doing it in a very smart way. And number three, when people feel that someone that they trusted has let them down, there's a disproportionate backlash. And so when you read these things online that against someone that you have had faith in, you want to come back and attack hard as well because you've been hurt. And so these are three main reasons why an entire forum can rally against you. Now, when I tighten my lens and I look at this through a personal lens, it's hurtful. It really hurts. You feel like you're under attack. And I fully understand how other influencers, especially younger influencers who maybe haven't read as much on human psychology, who maybe don't have a good support system around them, why they would go into depression, why they would self-harm, and why they would commit suicide. It's not, honestly, I've been on the other end where I'm watching this happen to somebody else, and I've seen someone's whole character being debated online, whether it's Meghan Markle, which was, a few weeks ago, or Priyanka Chopra, or other, I'm talking about women of color at the moment. And everyone's got their opinion and their 2 cents. But honestly, the person that you are talking about is a human being. And what I often hear is, yeah, but they signed up for it. They're in the public eye, so they signed up for it. I can tell you I did not sign up for anything. Where's my contract? Where did I sign that this is acceptable behavior? I literally am a mum who is struggling and failing every single day. I film in my bedroom on my mobile phone. It just couldn't be more real, I really do try and show you everything that I struggle with. And, I'm not some fancy person with, people around me to help me, So no, I didn't actually sign up for that. What I signed up for was to add value and improve the lives of my skin of color family globally. I do this in every way I possibly can, whether it is through teaching on YouTube, I'm on TikTok, I'm dancing on TikTok in order to try and help. I'm, on Instagram every single day to try and help. I dedicate 3 days a week to education for free, which nobody else does. Nobody else does that. So no, I didn't sign up for nastiness and negativity. It really isn't. I never signed that contract. So this video is for all those influencers out there who are working every day and hustling every day and trying to add value to people's lives every day. This is for those people who've seen all these forums, not just on me, but on everybody. Just realize and identify what mob behavior looks like and don't get sucked into it. If you have a question, go to the source and verify it. I'm on my DMs every day. I'm on my YouTube. You know, right now I'm releasing 3 videos a week. I'm in the comment section for 1 hour of launch every single week. You know, that I'm fairly accessible if you want to ask me a question, instead of just putting conjecture out into the ether online and creating mass hysteria, which ultimately really, you know, hurts someone's credibility. It hurts your name. I only have one name in my life and I'm not going to get another one. So my name is important to me. You know, I work hard to keep my reputation, and it's very unfair for somebody who comes from, you know, behind a keyboard with no name, no repercussions, to say whatever they want and just start spreading lies. I think it's terrible. That was a deep video, wasn't it? I feel like, I'm not sure if I'm going to release this video or not, but I feel so much better for saying everything and just getting it off my chest. If you are one of those struggling influencers, or if you are a professional who's just starting out and you're getting this kind of trolling and this kind of negativity and nastiness, please do DM me, because I feel like it's time that we come together and also educate on what it's like to go through this. And I'm, by the way, making this video in Mental Health Week, and no one cares about the mental health of any influencer, which isn't right when all we do is try and improve people's lives. So please do DM me, and I'm always here for you, and I'm always going to try and be as open and honest about everything as I possibly can. That's not to say I don't make mistakes. That's not to say I don't fail every single day. That's not to say I'm some perfect human being. I absolutely am not. I'm struggling every day. You know, I'm never going to pretend anything other than that. You know, I'm just doing my absolute best. Thank you, everybody, for your constant support, for your constant love, for always worrying about my mental health. Like when I'm doing an Instagram post and it's at midnight and I'm doing my 5th script of the day, and you guys message me and you're like, Dr. V, go to sleep, you know, like put your health first. You know, when you say that to me, like it goes straight to my heart. It goes straight to like, you are my family, you know, you really are. I speak to you 3 times a week, which is more than I speak to my own family. Oh my goodness. I say to my daughter, Sienna, I was like, listen, if you want to talk to me, Sienna, we're going to have to like collaborate on something together, or like make some videos or something so we can actually talk to each other. So thank you so much for always being there for me. I promise you are not underestimated, or you are so valued to me, and you ride me through the difficult times more than you know. You won't realize that one kind thing that you say to me, to you probably be like an off the cuff comment, one of the million comments that you send that day, but for me, each and every one of those comments I cherish. And when I lose confidence in myself, which can happen from negativity and like lies being spread about you, when you lose confidence in yourself and you just want to curl up in bed and just quit and just be done and just think this isn't worth it, you guys come in full force and tell me just ignore the negativity, ignore the lies, and just focus on your work and improve and educate and empower my family. And you guys get me through it. You really do. So thank you very much, honestly, from the bottom of my heart. And today I have 8 more videos to make for you. So hopefully I live up to all the love that you give me. Thank you very much. Take care.